fancy intro music. Yeah! Woo!
Hey, Star Trek Fleet Commanders, welcome in. Today, we're going to talk about Data E, or Enterprise E Data, or however you want to announce his name. So, we're going to cover what he does well, and I think that this is a good one. One, we definitely want to see how full-term sourcing goes for Enterprise E Data, but I think he's useful for all players. He's a very rare officer in that he's actually good for multiple reasons and multiple applications. It's a very rare officer. This doesn't happen very often. So let's take a look at that. First, what I have to do is give a shout out to somebody from server 121. Shout out to Beam. First player, at least that I've been made aware of. I've been looking every day, seeing who's jumping up. First player to hit 1 billion overall power. It's impressive. We are in wildly different tax brackets, me and Mr. Beam, but congratulations. It's hella cool. Shout out to server 121. Now let's see who can get to 1.5 first. So let's back out and take a look at Enterprise E Data. Now this is an officer being the rare that many of you are going to source this month via Battle Pass events, etc. And I've got him here at Tier 1, Level 1. Now officer ability is plus 10% to isolytic cascade damage versus non-armada hostiles. So, you know, freebooters, Q's trials, reds. That's what you're going to use him for. And then below deck is a 20% to max cargo. Now, how big does he get? Well, besides Tashiar asking that question, the answer is down there. You'll see the cargo increase going up to 70% at max and the officer ability at 40%. Now, real quick, you're going to be like, well, how does that have value? Number one, the cargo has value just blank. Your Voyager wants it. My Talios going OPC hunting definitely wants it. Can't wait to hit token systems with Enterprise E Data below decks. Oh yeah. You know, just generally speaking, you get a lot more value here from his below deck ability for the average player. Now, that doesn't mean his officer ability is worthless. In fact, if you're a higher level player, well, pay attention because he's actually the key to the new grind and the key to getting rep in the ridiculously hard 6-star space. But let's talk about how, because as you can see, most people are probably going to focus on if you're level 35, you're really going to love the cargo boost, but that doesn't mean this has no use to you, that being the officer ability. Remember, isolytic cascade is multiplying your total damage, including isolytic damage. It's like, it's a critical for isolytic. So it's big. It's important. All right, let's take a look at some logs. So I use the board cube. We're going to look at some baby examples. And again, if you're a lower level player, you might not see a huge difference. Here's a couple of examples against a freebooter. Now, this is me running a base test with Strange New Worlds. Now, obviously, because I'm hitting a battleship with the battleship, my Strange New World Ortegas is doing nothing here, so I have no boost in terms of like mitigation. But I do still have my shield mitigation plus the negative and positive both sides, and then synergization. So that's how I did just a base hit. Now, in fairness, here's me doing that against an Explorer, which I have the triangle advantage at, max mitigation. I do fantastic. But what I wanted to show so I could get to a couple of other logs like this one. Now, this is a full synergy Voyager crew. You see damage, I end up taking quite a bit, but not a tremendous amount. I did not use the doctor or anything because I didn't want any mitigation here. I want to show just kind of blank test, and also because a lot of people don't have the doctor for this Voyager crew, even if they have Janeway. Maybe they have B'Elanna Torres, which you could have also used. But I wanted to build up to this log right here, where you see Janeway. I'm using Tom Paris, but you could also do Janeway, B'Elanna Torres, and then Data. And this is a Tier 1, Level 1 Data. Why is this important? Why is this mattering? Well, it comes down to the isolytic damage. Look, I'm doing basically a fourth of my original damage being added in as a bonus here through isolytic, thanks to Janeway, and now we've got Data. So you can actually run this in multiple ways. You could run this Pike Moreau Data, but if you are a bigger player, like you're way up in the big leagues, you're probably going to be looking at something more like, I'm going to back out of this so it doesn't muddy the screen so much, this. So let's say you're one of those 5-star players going into 6-star, or you've already gone into 6-star like Baller or Ordrin here. Instead of using that brand new 63, the USS Akira, the Negvar for the Klingons, what a lot of people are finding is that with this crew right here, Janeway, B'Elanna Torres, Data E, you could also use Tom Paris if you wanted for the critical bonus, putting Hugh below decks and everything. But as you can see here, major damage, major bonuses. And this is a cheaper, more efficient run than using your new 63s. Because it's wild, because if y'all know, we talked a lot about if you are like a level 49 player, skipping the 50s to go to the 53s. And now we're talking about the value of how you're doing your grind in the early 60s, using your 60 ship instead of your 63s. So anyway, talking about the logs here, the main value that you're seeing the difference is, like if I click this one open, you see isolytic is basically non-existent. Down here, I only have what isolytic I'm getting from my artifacts. And even if I go to this log, which was a Voyager crew log, you see the isolytic still not as high as simply adding a baby tier 1 level 1 data comes in and drastically improves what that Voyager crew is doing. Now again, I do want to stress that if you are a lower mid-level player, don't look at data as a game-changing PvE option. Look at him as another PvE option. So what I mean by that is running something like Janeway, Doctor, Tom Paris, or B'Elanna, whoever, Strange New Worlds, then Pike Moreau Data, then Picard Beverly Chin, basically to the point where you're adding more and more to your already existing hostile grinding crews, or simply using him for his below deck ability on, again, like the Voyager. Why is that a big deal for me? Well, the Voyager, I got to go mine with the Voyager, right? And right now I've got a cargo of 764,000, but I also have another officer slot. So if I was to say, hey, let's go ahead and add that data right over here. Let's see what we can get this up to. We're going to replace, we don't really need a FKR officer there. So we're going to replace the Admiral. We're going to hit save, and then we're going to come back out here and take a look. Look, got me a little bit more. And again, this is just a tier 1 data. This is not leveled up. So the cool thing about data is he actually applies to multiple settings, even as a rare. So while you're going through and you're going through your battle pass, you're going through your events, and you're looking for these shards of these officers, you actually have a very good value here to data. Just for what usually, for at least I have felt lately, a lot of rares have been relatively useless. Well, now you have a relatively useful one, assuming that we can get any type of long-term sourcing that's consistent. And real quick, I want to remind our good Overlord friends who like to watch this video that the Voyager sourcing is terrible, and please don't make these new officers source like this, because this sucks. Like, this is terrible sourcing. This is, yay, one Harry Kim shard. Fantastic. So glad I played your game. That's awful. But if these new officers can get some legitimate sourcing, I love Enterprise E data as an officer for all players. Whether you're a high-level player, adding him into your PvE run, making him probably your primary PvE run. Again, big reason because of the isolytic damage and how much it can help with those 60s, especially when it comes to all those repair costs and everything, because it does continue to jump higher and higher. Or simply taking advantage as your average player, using him for more cargo. Either way, good officer. And like, I give kudos to Scopely for the design of this one. Let me know what you think about Enterprise E data in the comment section down below. Have you unlocked him yet? Do you plan on unlocking him? And is he one of those that he's worth going after if you see him in a certain milestone or something like a heroic? You know, as much as we complain about those heroics, knowing what you can see now, do you have value? Again, the pure numbers of like the cargo ad and everything maybe aren't the most impressive on paper, but you certainly see an impact him when using him in PvE or simply putting him below decks on your miners. I think anything that we can find in this game that actually has multiple uses, because so much that's been coming out is niche, right? Thankfully, the Borg Cube, not really niche. Could use a facelift in terms of power on the cutting beam, that tax remove, but not niche. Data, not niche. So I like that from a design aspect coming into this month, and hopefully they continue with that type. And we'll talk about more of these officers as we unlock more. But there you go with your Enterprise E data. Live long and plunder. Stay safe for the Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. Catch y'all on the next Star Trek Fleet Command video, which is basically every day. Don't forget, today's Friday. We will be streaming tonight. So join us on Twitch, twitch.tv/RevDeuce. That's me.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.